Right on, and welcome back to the Wreckless podcast, talking food, booze, and anything else you can put in your mouth, and basically hearing about Ashley's crazy little gig you got going on, man. I dig it.
It's pretty crazy, and I love it.
I'm a little mind blown, but I like it.
It's been, like, I was weirded the fuck out the first time, and now that it's been a year, and we've got like 50 episodes under our belt, I've made it efficient as fuck. Like, I've got my own little system back there.
Well, we feel that way, right,
dope.
Tone? I mean, that we went through the first 4 weeks like, holy shit, where do we put these mics? What do we do? Like, what? Half of my butt's tired from sitting here waiting. I don't know what's going on.
Why have I been sitting this long?
Yeah, like, I don't know what we're doing.
I mean, you can see the first episode I had like a boom arm. It's like, I don't know what to do. Yeah.
Every time
that's what I've got. And then,
every time I touch it, it's like, squeak, squeak. You're like, oops. And now we're pro, right?
Yeah,
Super
there.
pro. Yeah,
I'm getting there. I think actually, no, we sound good. We look good now, so I'm.
Well, you look good. I still am ugly. That's how it goes, bro. No matter what happens, dude, the makeup doesn't help, dude. Trust me, this is as good as it fucking gets right here.
He's been in makeup for 2 hours.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I break a sweat. People come out of the woodworks. It's crazy. So Nathan, dude, I gotta ask you, man. What the hell have you done your whole life? You haven't been Real McCoy forever, right?
No. I've been with the brand just over a year, actually. But I have a very actually bizarre background that crosses over into music and influencer stuff as well.
Cool.
I want to hear about that, dude.
Yeah.
Come on, let's talk bizarre background.
Yeah. So
I'll talk about fur pants if you can talk about bizarre backgrounds. It's all good. It's fun and what?
Yeah, I mean, rum kind of found me in the end, but I moved to Los Angeles to work in the music industry. So I was doing.
Can I ask where you're from?
I'm from Tucson, Arizona, originally.
Okay, that's why you're nice.
Oh, yeah.
Just in general, all Arizona people are nice.
No.
If not, you have to wear the pink suit
It's
and
not
live in the
Arizona
desert,
people.
right?
It's anyone who did not grow up in Southern California.
Yeah.
It's always like generally kind.
True story. I'm from Texas, so I understand.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Steers and queers.
Yeah, well,
Just saying.
moo cowboy. That's how it goes.
Sorry, I cut you off.
all
No,
right.
you're good.
I'm married. You don't have to worry about it, really. I'm
Okay,
just
cool.
kidding.
No, I'll take it.
Yeah. You say you take it? Let's continue this conversation.
So, I went to, I moved to Oregon as soon as I could just because it's so different than Arizona.
Right.
But I studied art. I lived in the rain and worked in a ton of restaurants, did that whole thing through my 20s, and then decided I needed to leave. So ended up in sunny LA, worked, kind of did music video work at first, and then ended up at Warner Brothers Records, where I did A&R for a good number of years. After that, kind of transitioned into management. So I was doing artist management, doing some tour managing, traveling. I had an artist who was doing a lot of work in Asia, so I was traveling Asia with her. Really enjoyed that kind of chapter. But that whole time I was doing kind of that early wave of like food blogs.
Yeah.
I was one of those food bloggers. Kind of that was like my side thing.
By the way, we hate you.
Well, no, I didn't say Yelper.
Oh.
I said food blogger.
Still, though, there's a time in the food blogging thing, I loved it and I hated it. You can when it first came out.
There's some great ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See?
And there are some people who should not be fucking on a computer or voicing their opinion.
Totally.
No, I actually
Not that you were one of those. I'm just saying.
I can comfortably say I
But like
wasn't.
with any
good.
career or anything, there's a good and a bad.
Yeah, and I think that quickly actually transitioned into podcasting.
Right.
So I had a podcast.
wow.
I was picked to do a podcast on this emerging food. It was actually the first food podcast network. It was called Home Fries, and I had a podcast with a couple of the guys, and it was about home entertaining, food, drink, and everything in between. So I kind of became just by default the drink guy based on my interests.
Right.
The cocktail guy. And then over a couple of years, that turned into a pop-up. So I had a pop-up with kind of a young chef, and it was called the Coconut Club. It was kind of a tiki tropical-inspired pop-up, which we've ran for about 4 years. And
that is a long run, man.
That is a long run.
4 years to do a pop-up's basically the life of a restaurant.
I was going to say, most restaurants don't last so long.
Congrats. That's that's awesome, man.
We we had an event last Halloween, and then this Halloween did kind of like a little something, but it wasn't a full-blown event. But yeah, it was a really great time. A lot came from that, actually. It's like, that's kind of how I really got nerdy with rum, was during that time. I worked with another rum company at one point, really enjoyed it, did some other kind of brand liquor work, and just kind of really enjoyed working on that side of things, actually. Obviously not on my feet all day and different kinds of hours. I kind of really fell in love with it. But
you mean you fell in love with drinking? Because we all do
Yes.
that. Let's be honest for a second.
Man.
No,
you fell with the right love. I'm just letting you know. That's how
Correct.
it goes.
But like anything, once it's your career, you know, it does change a bit. So as much as I love a cocktail,
Tell me about
it's
it.
like
I don't cook at home, man.
Yeah,
People
like I don't.
Hey, you want to barbecue? I'm like, go fuck off.
Yeah.
What do you mean? I want to barbecue?
I love it when people ask my
Yeah.
husband, they're like, "Oh my God, you must eat the most amazing food," and he's like,
yeah,
and I'm like, "Eat a dick, dude." Do you like make software
Right.
on your day off? Fuck
yeah,
off.
dude. And my wife and daughter are the same thing. They're like, hey, they always ask, what do you guys have at fun? You know, like if we want good food, we go to the restaurant. When he comes
Right.
home, it's mac and cheese, dude, or whatever.
Yeah.
I pick up
Oh,
Del
yeah.
Taco on the way home, man. I'm not.
Oh yes.
It's how it goes, dude. It's a guilty pleasure, but I get it, man. Once you're in the mix, really
Yep.
does screw up the fun
Yeah.
of it before a little bit.
Yeah, you know, but there's something nice about that. It kind of keeps it separate. Yeah,
Right.
I go home and I have a glass of wine. You know, I don't really make cocktails at home. You know.
Well, you're the
You don't make tiki cocktails when you get home.
that is an image though. I think it's like every like bartender's like at home like doing it up, right?
Mixologist just
That
getting
practice-
crazy.
But then on the
phone.
flip side, your neighbors still think it because they hear you shaking a cocktail at 10 a.m. because you're doing R&D or something,
Right.
and they're like,
Yeah,
Nathan has a
R&D.
problem.
Yeah.
Look at all those bottles on his dining table, and it's like, yeah, they're all full, obviously. Like,
for now.
oh boy.
I know enough. The first time when I really got into out of culinary school was like cooking and doing enough stuff, and I had my buddy that was like an actual wine rep, and this is my first like I didn't know anything about like wine reps. So they just walk around with open bottles all day,
Dude.
right? And so he moved
They
in.
have the life.
Dude, he moved in like three
Yeah.
doors down from me. And I would go and I was doing all the stuff during the day and I was doing like Coachellas and I was gone like 4 months and then back 6 months before I got in the restaurants. And he would just come over with like buckets of like wine. And we're like, what is this? He's like, well, I opened them today, so we have to drink them. And I was like, this is your life, dude? Like, how do you...
They make it seem like it's a burden. So you're like, oh
Yeah.
man, I got all these
It's
open
gonna-
bottles of wine.
Yeah, it's gonna go bad if you don't X, Y, and Z or la la la. So we pounded wine like it was, and I'm sure it was really nice wine back in the day, but I didn't know anything about wine. We just got hammered every day. I was like, dude, so 4 days a week. But luckily, I didn't know you and rum or booze back then. It was only wine, thank God.
You just made me realize there really should be some sort of like a co-op where everyone with all of their extra bullshit that they don't want around, everyone can get together and
Okay,
you
stop
know.
talking right now because I just got a good idea and I
Yeah,
don't
I
want
was-
anyone to steal it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
We now have a new
Put a pin in
adventure
that.
between us. That's how this goes. So after getting drunk on everything else, you ran into rum. This is where this is going, right? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Which
you
I
know,
understand.
Well, tiki led to rum for me. I
Right.
think tiki. You know, it's become fairly saturated as a culture, and I think there was a point at which it wasn't inspiring me as much anymore as an entity, and I kind of noticed that I was more inspired by the spirits themselves at
Right.
the base. So,
But the tiki thing is huge right now.
it's massive. Yeah.
I mean, isn't it like, I mean, I'm not a big tiki guy unless I'm like on a beach in weird shorts or whatever, but then I'm in.
Or
But-
Trader Sam's.
Yeah, right.
I
right.
love Jersey.
But I'm just saying
Right.
it's a huge thing right now. I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's coming up with tiki drinks. I think blended drinks are starting to come back now. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm not the bar expert by any means, but I like just whiskey and sometimes cold and sometimes not, and that's
Yeah,
about
no,
it.
I like whiskey
Yeah.
and water.
Yeah, water's
Water's
good.
great.
Blue drinks are having a moment.
Right,
Oh
right.
yeah.
Are they
So-
again?
Yeah.
Audio, or
How about the
adios
slushies?
motherfuckers making
Yeah.
a comeback?
Ooh, surfers on acid. I've had
No
some artisanal surfers on acid.
I think I threw. No
Ooh.
way.
House-made blue curacao.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
man, it's made with
Butterfly
bugs or whatever. Right?
Butterfly pea flower.
Yep, bugs.
I have those.
Do you? The
Yeah,
bugs?
I had to do it for a show.
The
And
cochineal beetles for like red or.
Well, we
they
did
had a little red.
Yeah,
butter-
we did Blood and Guts. One of the beers that Evan did for Blood and Guts was red. Called the red tape, and he loaded it up with bugs and everything, and that was
Yeah.
wild, dude.
It's pretty
That was
fucking
wild.
cool. The kind of shit people are coming up with these days.
It wasn't as good as the weasel poop dark beer though. Kopi Luwak. So he actually put Kopi Luwak into a dark ale, and we did that over there, and it was
I am frowning deeply.
It was great because everybody's like, I didn't tell everybody what they were eating during the dinner, and we talk about this now every show. I should probably do something different about it. I just realized that right now. And so everybody had to drink it, and I'm like, how do you guys like your shitty beer? Like, what do you like? They're like, what do you mean? I'm like, well,
kind of poopy.
yeah, it's kind of poopy. I'm just letting you know that wonderful flavor. That's weasel shit. Just enjoy.
Wait, it's real weasel shit?
Yeah, so basically,
Oh.
you know, like it was from that movie. They eat the coffee bean, and they poop out the coffee
Oh,
bean,
okay.
Bats
yeah.
do, right?
and then
I thought it was-
or
yeah.
whatever it is, bats or whatever
Bat
it is.
guano or something.
Kopi Luwak, whatever the animal is, they shit it out.
Right.
And then
Okay.
they harvest it and then they like clean it up, I guess, and then they sell it.
let's hope.
Yeah, Either way, that's been in some animal's butt that you're enjoying.
It's fertilizer.
A lot of
It's a
animal
thing.
butt on this podcast.
You like that?
Yeah.
Well, we try to stay fluid with
We
things.
try to
whatever
say
happens.
nose to tail.
Right.
Ayo.
Good one.
And if you could put one in the other, it usually bakes good, so you're okay.
Hey.
Sorry to derail with butt jokes again. I apologize. So back to rum, man. I want to hear
Sure.
how you got into this whole deal here.
Yeah, so the Real McCoy, it's a really cool brand. It's the best kind of job, the job that finds you, you
Right,
know?
right.
And I kind of quickly drank the Kool-Aid just hearing about the brand, the concept. It's a pretty cool one. So our founder he was a filmmaker by trade first, Bailey Pryor. And he used to own Warren Miller Films, did a bunch of ski films, lived in Colorado. And then when he sold that, he kind of went into doing documentary films for like educational films. And he had this back pocket project he always wanted to do about Bill McCoy, who was the first rum runner during the American Prohibition. So he grew up on boats on the East Coast and thought this kind of folk American hero was someone really cool. And PBS said that's kind of a cool one. You know, let's pause on that. And he made some other films for them. And then on his own on the side, he just started making this film as a passion project and brought the final result to them, and they said this is great. They aired it that year. He got nominated for 5 Emmys and won all 5.
Wow.
So
yeah, right.
So you could really tell he cared about
Right on.
this
That's
project.
awesome.
And it's a really cool story. What makes Bill, in a nutshell, what makes Bill really interesting is so Prohibition goes into effect January of 1920. This retired shipbuilder takes his boat down to the Caribbean just to get away, sailing about, starting collecting barrels because hey, look, alcohol.
Right.
And goes back up to New York, drops his anchor 3 miles off the coast of Manhattan, and sets up a floating liquor store. So 3 miles out was international waters at the time. So what he was doing was technically
It was
totally
the first
legal.
swim up bar.
Oh,
Rad.
I'm gonna steal that.
Yeah,
That's good.
that was epic.
That's good.
Somebody bring the floaty.
That's
Yeah.
$100 an hour.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'll send you the bill. It's good to
I'll
know.
invoice you. You're fine.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, so he quickly developed a reputation because not only was he selling liquor, but he wasn't adulterating it and he wasn't selling it at a premium. So this is in a time where in the city, anything you're buying from the mob or anyone else, it's cut with turpentine, wood alcohol, prune juice, water. You just didn't really know what you were getting, right? So this is a guy who was a stand-up guy, just doing. He didn't even drink himself. He was just an honest guy doing it for the adventure, and
That's so cool.
so that's where that term Real McCoy comes from, meaning quality and the real deal. It was all about Bill McCoy and what he was selling in the early
See,
20s.
I knew there was a
That
cool
is-
story here.
A
Yeah.
very cool story. That's
Yeah,
a very
rad.
cool woman.
I'm bringing the Real
That-
McCoy back as a thing.
Yo.
What
How is
I'm,
it? It's the Real McCoy.
dude, I can't believe that they got the copyright. Like I was like,
Right.
really? There's like the Real McCoy isn't taken? Isn't that crazy? So Bailey's idea was, wouldn't it be kind of cool to, looking at the rum market, a lot of people, I feel like rum is a really misunderstood spirit, right?
200%, man. I think people think dark rum, Jamaican rum, and then like
Mai Tais.
yeah, and
or
like
light,
spice.
light gold, dark spice. Like, what do these
Right.
what do these words even
Captain
mean?
Morgan.
And
Yeah.
what does that say about what's in the bottle? Like nothing
Right.
at all. So he's looking at the market and he's like, rum is actually a really interesting category in that, there's great rums out there, but most of what people know is just not great. And it's almost as murky as what was in the bottle in Prohibition. And so kind of what Bill McCoy was fighting against is kind of what Bailey decided he should fight against. So he
So if this is Bayesian, is
Yeah.
it from molasses?
This is molasses based. Yeah. So he went down to Barbados, was kind of searching through the National Archives because in his nerdy mind, he wanted to find the distillery that Bill was buying from
Right,
1920.
right.
But look, back then there were hundreds of distilleries. Today there are 4. So he ends up at Mount
There
Gay.
are only 4.
4 distilleries on the island of
Mount Gay.
Barbados.
Oh, okay. I was like, wow.
Mount Gay,
Mount Gay,
which is
Right.
the oldest.
It's huge, yeah.
So he went there first, and the owner then, Frank Ward, said, this is a really cool project, but it wouldn't have been us at that time. I just know that because we weren't exporting a barrel yet. But you should go talk to this guy down the street, Richard Steele. And so he goes to Foursquare Distillery, and which is now the oldest family-owned distillery on the island. And right away, Richard's like, so basically, you're coming to me wanting to champion traditional Barbados rum around the world, like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's,
Yes, 100%.
let's do that because he's like, I'm one man. If you're wanting to champion, like, let's do it. So, and he just loved it because it's exactly the concept. I mean, look, on the island of Barbados, no one does this stuff anyway. There are no, you can't add sugar, flavors, chemicals, all that stuff to rum coming from Barbados and call it Barbados rum anyway. So for them, they're like, this is just furthering that, like educating people,
Right.
talking about traditional rum. And look, as far as the history books are concerned, rum was born on the island of Barbados. Rumbolian, this is like the oldest form of rum that we know of, and it was started in like 1640s on the island of Barbados. And they've been making rum the same way ever since 1640. So no one was really, what we think of as rum now, that sweet, syrupy, hangover juice, that wasn't even being produced until like the 1940s. So
Right, when they
just
were making
look at
money
that
or whatever,
amount
yeah.
of time, right?
Totally.
So, so what we do is just very traditional Barbados rum. It is molasses based, and most of that is all coming just from our own land at Foursquare in Barbados, St. Philip. And then, it's a controlled top fermentation, so it's very clean. One strain of yeast, 44 hours. And then we have 2 really old Caribbean stills. So an old copper pot still and an old coffee traditional column still. So an old
so
Yeah, that's
2-column
rad.
copper
that
still.
is badass.
So what we have here is a batch. It's a batched rum aged in ex-Jack Daniels barrels. And it's just really simple, clean, to the point, and no BS.
Dude, well, that's all epic. And I know none of that, which is that.
That
Every time we
sounds
do-
like Barbados.
Yeah,
You know?
I need to go to Barbados. Is really what it comes down to. I've never
really-
been that.
you really should.
I've never been that far. I love islands and anything tropical and anything where people don't know us or want me to do anything. That's my
Yeah.
favorite, right? Like
Tiny. So
Really?
tiny. The
It is.
locals are incredibly welcoming.
So
and
warm and friendly
The
and
men,
lovely.
for all you women out there, are beautiful. It's a beautiful island.
So you're
to
saying
go
I'll stick
to.
out there like a fat thumb? I'll be the only big bald white
I was
guy
gonna
there.
say
Yeah.
sore,
Yeah,
but
well,
if you
that's
wanna go-
okay. That's okay. I'll take it. I'll take it. I got 2 of them. We're all right. So I want to. We're gonna get some glasses. We're gonna drink this up. I really want to hear about it as we drink it. We're gonna go for all 4. Yeah, are these all different, completely different, some alike.
Yeah.
What do you got here? They're all.
Yeah. So we have 3, our core 3, it's 3 age statements, a 3-year, a 5-year, and a 12-year. And then we have a little fun limited edition that
So,
I
so
think
this
you'll
is
enjoy.
this is what I love about this show. Actually, is that like everybody always brings a unicorn booze. I never have to say anything, but always something really dope shows up that I don't know about. And it's okay, whatever, you know. Got a few other things,
Yep.
a Louis Trey, and like I mean, we always get some unicorns. So I appreciate me not having to make fun of you for not bringing a unicorn today. You did good.
I brought you a unicorn.
Let's get some glasses. Coming right back.